Have you ever sat on an idea, something you knew could actually help someone, but you kept it to yourself because it wasn't perfect yet? Maybe you felt like a bit of an imposter, so you stayed quiet. Then a month later, you see someone else doing that exact thing and you feel that sting of regret. That, my friend, is called shrinking. And let's be honest, midlife is way too short for silence. Today, I want to talk about how to reclaim your voice and show up without that cringe feeling. We're going to move from performing to serving. So being seen feels like a contribution, not a show. So here's the problem. The second you think about sharing your work, your brain whispers, now you have to sell it. And you freeze. You probably think you have a sales problem, but I'm going to be completely honest. You don't have a sales problem. I know lots of people will say, oh, I hate selling. But the problem really is underneath all of that is a visibility problem. We avoid the pitch or the post because we've been conditioned to not be too much, to not be messy, or to wait until we are qualified. But look at your life. You've lived, loved, lost, and rebuilt. You are qualified. If there's ever a time for good qualifications, it's midlife. And so when you hide your offers in the drafts folder of your life, that's just your inner critic trying to keep you safe from judgment. And trust me, I have been there. A funny story, I had a coach tell me once that I had FTL, failure to launch. And it hurt because it was true. I was scared of the comment section. Meanwhile, the people actually making an impact were the ones who were simply choosing to get out of their own way. You don't need to be polished. You just need to be present and put yourself out there and make the ask. And that for me was super hard. And in some cases, sometimes I feel like I have a little FTL still inside of me. So this reminds me so much of a conversation I had on my Midlife Women Entrepreneurs podcast with Julia Brooks. We talked about her philosophy that nice girls get rich faster. Now, that's not about being a doormat or people pleasing. It's about the fact that real relationships and honest connections build more trust than any high pressure sales tactic could ever. So Julia showed us that visibility is just being present. It's about being truthful enough that people can actually feel who you are. When they feel you, they can trust you. And I really loved that because when I started to position everything in my mind more as building a relationship, everything for me became much more clear. It became less salesy. And I was nice. I love building relationships. So let's break this down. You aren't selling, you're helping. Pushing feels gross to us because, quite frankly, it is gross. But inviting feels like a gift. A few years ago, I was drowning in my own business, doing all the right things, posting constantly, and I was burnt out. I realized I was focusing on the how, the tactics, and the hustle instead of the who. My business didn't need a better strategy, it needed my heart back. So here's the soul shift. Your free content shows them, the people that are silently watching you, the path, but your paid offer gives them the speed and the support to actually walk it, to get traction, to get the transformation. Taking up space isn't an ego trip. It's pulling up a chair and putting your wisdom on the table for the people who are starving for it, for them to see it. You aren't starting from zero. You are starting from decades of experience. When you show up, you just aren't building a business. You're giving every other woman in your circle permission to do the same. And I really want to reiterate that because even this podcast platform, sometimes I feel like, oh, it's all for naught. And but I will always have at least one out of every two guests on my show tell me at the end that they think I'm doing such a great thing for women and we need my platform for women to tell their stories. And so when you start to have doubt in your mind, just ask for that feedback. It's what keeps me going. So what I've done is I think about kind of how do I keep myself grounded now moving forward. And so I'm going to share 3 grounding steps that have helped me from shrinking to showing up. The first one is naming your gremlin. Now, that's your inner critic. I like to call it your gremlin. So, the gremlin is when that voice says, who do you think you are? Lynette, nobody's listening to your podcast. I say, I see you trying to keep me safe, but I'm choosing to be seen today anyway. And then I take a breath and I do it scared. The second thing is pick a tiny stage. So you don't need to go viral. You don't need to have this big, major viral video. You just need a 60-second Instagram story or a voice note to your email list. One take, one truth, one invite. Done is better than perfect. So here's the third step that you can use. It's a bit of a framework. I've coined it CARE, the CARE framework, CARE. And the first is to share context. What is the context of what you're sharing? And be simple about it. So, is it a problem that you're trying to solve for somebody? Is it an idea that you want to share? But give it some context. And then the aha, what will they learn? What will you teach that they will learn where they can get a little mini transformation? And the result is what is possible. What can you do to tell them that if you get this first step, the second step is going to be even better? Extend an invite to them to come and work with you, to take the next step with you. I like the idea of presenting your offer in ways that can give quick mini transformations so that people don't feel obligated to buy, another 12-week program, another online course. I buy this one thing from Lynette, I engage with one thing with Lynette, and bang, I get this transformation. I'm going to do something else. Building out a community is a really great way of doing that, where I do have a school community. I'm just launching it now. It's a community where midlife women entrepreneurs can join. And inside of there, we're going to share ways of getting these mini transformations. There'll be a lot in there around how to learn how to use AI in your day to day, how to advance your knowledge and skills, how to work through your mindset blocks. So there's a lot that can be done with short, small bursts that I think people really enjoy and appreciate versus entering into another 12-week program. So, how do you get started? So, tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to ask yourself one question. What truth wants to be said through me today? So, don't overthink it. Don't check the lighting. Just share one small thing that could help someone else right now. You are choosing yourself. You're taking up space because, quite frankly, your work matters. And somewhere out there, someone is waiting for you to stop shrinking so they can find you to give them the help they need. I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to answer them. You can write the answers down or you can just answer them inside of your head. Where have you been shrinking? And I want you to really think about this question because it is an easy question to answer if you're really being true and vulnerable and honest with yourself. The next question is, where are you ready to take up space now? Where are you willing to be, to showcase your talents, your skills, how you help others? If you truly believe somebody needed what you offer, how would you show up this week? And the next question is, what is your tiny stage for the next 24 hours? Pick a platform. Maybe it's email, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's a LinkedIn post, it's whatever. But just do it in one take, one truth, one invite. I've got this. Here's how I can help. I would love for you to join me on this journey. And the last question is, what permission do you need to give yourself to be seen exactly as you are? So take a moment with me for now. Close your eyes and picture yourself under a warm light, not to perform, but to witness your own story. Feel your feet on the ground, shoulders are soft, heart is open. Let your voice tremble if it needs to. Speak it anyway. That tremble is the truth moving through you. I want to thank you for listening today. I see you, I appreciate you, and I will see you in my next episode.